Alright, and we should be live. Yeah, there we go. We are live. Hello, hello. How is everyone doing? Let me go send out all my notifications and things. Where do I go? There we go. Oh yeah, I talked about needing a intro screen for this before. I really need to get on that. I may need to get some new equipment to work on stuff like that. I don't have like a drawing tablet or anything, which I guess technically doesn't limit what I can do, because technically I can draw with a mouse on a computer, but we don't want to do that, because that's infuriating. But you know, it's an option. It is an option. Boop, boop. Okay, tweet sent. Now I'm gonna go bother everybody's discords, starting with my own. Alright, that is my notifications done. Okay. So let me go ahead, get my camera back set up real quick, and then we can get started. I'm really hoping I'm going to be able to get through the rest of this kit today, but we will have to see. I'm not quite sure how much longer it's going to take me. Shouldn't be too long. I don't think it'll be too long. I don't expect the rest of the pieces to be too complicated. Alright. Oh, cool. Hello, Nani. Well, I'm glad to see you here regardless. I'm assuming you're gonna be, like, driving and stuff, right? Because, yeah, if you're, like, driving and whatnot, I don't expect you to be able to chat while doing that. That's understandable. Yeah. Remember, kids, don't chat and drive. That is a recipe for a good time. We enjoy irresponsible decisions like playing Black Desert. Yeah, just give me a moment here. I gotta get this camera back in a position I like. It is fighting with me a little bit. Case in point, I still don't like where that's sitting. And I just made it worse. Okay, give me a second. Almost there. Okay, that works. I like that. I can deal with that. Okay, switching back to the camera feed now. Alrighty. I'm gonna just put that over there. That should be fine. Oh no, I don't. Oh. There we go. Okay. Where did I put? Huh. I am realizing I forgot my tools. Give me a second. Where did I put my tools? I don't see my tools. Um. I put them. Oh wait. There they are. There's one of them anyway. Where did... There it is. Okay, cool. I left them in the box. So I put them in a smart place. Which is why we couldn't find them. Alright. Now that's figured out. Things are breaking. Okay. So, last time we were able to get this much done. I got the whole torso segment done. Finished off the backpack as that last little bit. And now we're gonna break out the instructions and figure out what comes next. The instructions are at the bottom of the box. Boop. There we go. Let me see here. Well, that's not it. That's step 30 something. There we go. Step 1. So we got the backpack. Oh, so it wants me to do the head next. Okay. Let's lay that out there. Okay. Right here. So we got A and B. And some caution I can't read. Awesome. Okay. So let's dig out the A and B runners. C, K, C, D. All right, A and B. Let me see here. For B, we're looking for 23. 23 right there. Shift up closer to my workspace. Okay. We got that. I feel like I should be worried about these pieces. 26. This one right here. Just the piping pieces. I'm worried about breaking them with them being long. Probably softer segments. Okay, gotta clean this up a little bit. I'm gonna just... Man, I'm a little tired for precision work. But that's okay. There we go. Nice and smooth. Moving on to the next bit. Man, I really need to look into... I figured out what to rant about. I'm gonna rant about P-Bondi. But anyways, I should figure out if I can get a hold of... I missed the pre-order window for it. They did a couple of the Code Fairy suits, which I guess I need to explain what Code Fairy is. You'll see it on the channel eventually. We recorded Chapter 1 and haven't done anything with it. So I need to find those recordings. We need to edit them together, do what we need to do, and continue on the game. I haven't played it since because I was trying to record it. But Code Fairy is really what it is it was released as the standalone campaign for GBO2. GBO2 is a... Well, you've probably seen it on my channel. GBO2 is a third-person shoot. It's technically a third-person shooter. It plays weird, but I digress. It is a third-person PvP shooter. Code Fairy is a single-player campaign that runs based off of GBO2's system. So again, it's basically the campaign mode, released as its own standalone game. And there's a couple of mobile suits they created for the game, for the main characters to pilot. And a couple of them got released as model kits. So they did the White Rider, Black Rider, and Ifrit Jaeger, I believe it was. And I really wanted to get the Ifrit Jaeger kit, but the pre-orders sold out like instantly. I didn't get one. So I need to look into it and see if I can go buy one somewhere. Because Ifrit Jaeger's a cool kit. It's an Ifrit that has an SVD and a Kukri. And that's cool. So, I want to get it. But yeah, P-Bondi is annoying because they take kits that really are just normal kits and they overcharge for them because they're premium kits now. Long story short, it's a bit annoying. I don't like it. And they do it because money. Yeah, Bondi. I forget. I don't think I've mentioned it here before, but Bondi doesn't care about Gundam as an IP. Bondi cares about Gundam as a marketable resource. So Bondi is gonna do what Bondi do. That's why Gundam games are bad. It's because they're on Bondi's watch. And Bondi only cares about pushing the product. That actually hurt Crossfire. Crossfire got released when it was not finished because Bondi wanted it out at a certain time. It's happened to other games too. So that's always fun. It's also why we don't get side stories games anymore. Because Bondi saw the mass marketability of things like the Extreme Versus games and said, nah, we don't need simulator style games anymore. They don't sell as well. The ironic thing is when they then went and did that side stories, they had a game that was a collection of the different side stories, but the gameplay was bad Gundam Versus. Nobody liked it. It didn't sell well. Because the side stories games, first of all, are a bunch of different games with different gameplay styles. But some of the more well-known ones, or the ones people really gravitate towards, the ones I keep seeing as some of the best games of the franchise, are the Blue Destiny games, which were on the Sega Master System, I want to say, and Rise from the Ashes on the Dreamcast, which are both first-person cockpit view, more simulator-style games. So when they didn't get that from the game that put those stories into one game, people got upset. It's part of what draws people to those games. Yeah, and Blue Destiny is fascinating. I disagree with some of the writing in it, because I think the understanding of new types we see within the Blue Destiny series, like, storyline doesn't make sense. Unless I've got my timeline a little mixed up, which I might be, but I'm pretty sure the Blue Destiny story happens during the 1 Year War, which if that's the case, well, if that's the case, depending on where you're looking at, they know more or less about what new types are and what they can do, but actually, yeah, that makes things weird. Because if you're looking at the film continuity, So the original Gundam is 42 episodes long, and then after the original TV run, they made the compilation films, which is a trilogy of films that kind of condense the information from that run. It trims a lot of the fat, so to speak, right? Which I've got mixed feelings about, because when they went back to it, they touched up some of the animation, made some stuff look nicer. They also cut out some stuff that was genuinely really dumb. So there's a couple things that were in there that were introduced by the toy company Clover. So Clover definitely pushed some stuff on the original Gundam that they wanted in there to sell toys, because that was their primary goal, and it's some very, very stupid stuff. And some of that gets trimmed out, which I like. But there's a couple moments that also get trimmed out that I don't think should have been trimmed out. So I got mixed feelings on it. Cool. But mixed feelings aside, not mixed feelings aside, because this is actually going into one of my mixed feelings with it, right? One of the things that I have mixed feelings about is with the TV series. So within Gundam, I'm going to give a little context for this too. Within Gundam in general, right? Or I guess UC Gundam specifically, each franchise, each series within the franchise works a little bit different, but within the stuff that follows the UC timeline, you have the concept of a new type, which is, in very simple terms, an evolved human. It is a human that has gained... Actually, it's a little bit weird. It's not super clear to me exactly what all being a new type entails, but on a basic level, it's an evolved human that has psychic capabilities. Within the original TV series, the first time we hear somebody mention the actual term new type doesn't come in until like the last half of the series. It doesn't get introduced until we actually see our main character interacting with a known new type, it was also the first known new type at least within at the time. I don't know if I don't know if they've like retconned other new type characters into having been known at that time. I know narrative tried to retcon a really powerful new type as predicting the colony drop, which I hate. I really don't like that. But anyway, it doesn't show up until the last maybe quarter of the show. Probably a little earlier than the last quarter of the show, but really late into the series before they actually bring up new type as a concept and use that terminology for it. Like, somebody teases that he might be like an Esper or something, but like that's not stated in any serious manner. And then with the films, they have that concept being dropped right at the beginning of the series. And I don't like that concept being dropped at the beginning of the series because I think it hurts our main character's development. I think our main character, the idea of him having psychic powers or developing psychic powers being introduced right at the beginning of the series, I feel like really takes away from the idea of him growing, like learning to fight, improving by his own ability leading up to the new type awakening, which doesn't actually happen till like the end of the series. But introducing it like that early on sort of implies that it all comes from new type powers. And I don't really like that. I think that's a concept that is better left unmentioned until it's really relevant. Which is not till the later moments of the series. So there's like that I don't really love about the films. And then there's a character death, which for spoiler reasons, that's the most I'm going to say on that. There's a character death that never happens. And there's a whole fight that they completely skip in the films that I think both takes away from the context of why our characters are where they are in the first place for other stuff that still happens, but also just like muddies the timeline and makes things weird. Because like we introduce this character, he then leaves forever, and then he's killed by the main character, but off screen, and it's weird. It's also the guy that my sister says looks like my dog. But that's the most I'm going to say about that, and you probably won't know who that is anyway, because most of you have not seen my dog, nor Gundam, so that is still not spoilers. I recommend the original. Oh! Speaking of old mecha, though, that reminds me, I'm quite happy they put Gunbuster on Crunchyroll. So I actually have a resource I can throw at people for where to watch it now, other than just lending them my Blu-ray collection that I am hesitant to lend out because I can't wait for that to spike in price when Gainax refuses to reprint it ever, like they did the DVD set from before. Because Gainax doesn't like people, I guess. It took them long enough to release it in the first place. Oh, I need stickers. Okay, give me a second. I dread this. I dread this because I don't have tweezers. I actually went and bought some, but I don't know where they are, and I don't want to spend forever looking for them. I'd have to, like, go upstairs and stuff, so it would, I think it'd be a little much. Oh, I can either put a commander horn on here or not. Oh, that's a... Oh, man. That's a decision I have to make. I don't want to make decisions. Ooh, here we go. This is why you ideally want a pair of tweezers. So this is the mono eye. There we go. Oh no, it's off. We weren't good at all. Okay, now we're good. Whew. So that's the camera. Zaku's typically the Xeon suits, with the exception of in Zeta Gundam, have this mono eye camera suite. Fun thing about Gundams, actually, I'm gonna grab one in a second. I'm gonna finish putting these two pieces on, and I'm gonna grab one to show stuff off that I think is really interesting. But yeah, Zaku's have this mono eye camera suite, which looks cool. They've got that Cyclops look. It's scary looking. I like it. but that goes in here. Preferably the piping doesn't fall off, and that can, yeah, there you go, see? That can swivel now. So that's cool. And then this is gonna go on the front. So I'm gonna make sure that's in. There we go. This piece is gonna go on the front. Let me see. Like that. Oh, now the piping is gonna stay. Cool. So now we've got that. Now give me one quick second. I'm gonna go grab the Gundam real quick because I want to show off the difference of the cameras and how they're laid out. He's dusty and I don't like it. I haven't moved him in a bit. That's bad. I need to take a can of air or a duster to these guys. All right, we're gonna put you over here. That's not a Gundam. Don't worry about that. I'll show it off in a second, actually, but I digress. All right, so I got two of the same thing here, except not. Got my RX-79G ground type Gundam. And I've got my RX-79G ground type Gundam, but chibi. Anyways, let me lay them down here. I don't want to move them out of this pose because it was a pain to get it just right. I've got him carrying his beam rifle and the 100mm machine gun because it came with both, so I'm gonna do that. It also came with the 180mm cannon too, which does fit in the backpack. There's a back unit. The ground types have this weapons rack. It's this backpack unit that I'm not sure where it is at the moment. I don't think I have it on my shelf. I'm pretty sure it's in the box, and I don't want to take too much time to dig it out and everything. But here we go. So this opens up, and that back unit sits in there, and it's this big old white box container that's for carrying weaponry in it. And the 100mm machine gun breaks down, 180mm cannon breaks down into components and fits in that backpack unit. And it fits on this unit's backpack like it's supposed to. It's fantastic. But yeah, you can have it. Ooh, that doesn't want to close. That's scaring me because it doesn't want to close. Why does that not want to close? We might just leave that open for the time being because it is seizing up on something. It doesn't want to close, and I don't want to force it. I don't want to break something. He says, and then continues messing with it anyway. There we go. Whew, that scared me. Okay. Oh, right, the camera suites. Okay. So what you see here on the Gundam type heads, first of all, you're always going to know a Gundam type head because a Gundam head always looks like that. It's going to have that particular shape. You're typically going to see some sort of venting. Normally, you're going to see some sort of head Vulcans or something as well. The ground types don't have head Vulcan pods. Instead, they put the Vulcan pod in the chest. So this gun barrel right up top here, which you can't really see. You can see it if I get the lighting right there. You can't really see. It's supposed to be gray like this, but it's a single molded piece for the chest piece here. So it does not. I would have to paint that in myself if I wanted to get the gray on there, which I still mean to do. I just haven't. I forgot I hadn't actually. But that's the Vulcan pod there. A lot of Gundam units are going to have it fixed in the head. Which now I wish I'd grabbed one of the other ones too to show that off, but I digress. And this one also has a multi-launcher. That's the larger barrel in the chest. I want to say the one thing we see this used, I think it's a multi-launcher anyway. I might be mistaken about that. But regardless, what we see it used for in the series, this is from the 8th MS team, they fire a flash bomb out of there at one point. So I love the RX-79. This is one of my favorite units. I love the Blue Destiny units too, because the Blue Destinies are based off of these. Blue Destiny, specifically 2 and 3, are Gundam ground types that were customized and re-outfitted with unique systems. One of the things I like them for is they're made to be able to go in space. These can't. This is not sealed, pressurized properly for space warfare. It's stuck only on ground. The Blue Destinies can go in space, but basically look like this. So I really like the Blue Destinies. Again, 2 and 3. Blue Destiny 1 is based off of a ground gym, I believe. If I remember correct. Yeah, it's based off of the gym. Anyways. Cameras. Oh, and the V-fin. V-fin is a dead giveaway of an actual Gundam unit. And that's the little V-shaped headpiece there. But what you see here is you've got the 2 eyes in there to give it more humanoid face, but those are actually the secondary cameras. The main camera is this piece right up here at the very top of the head. This is the main camera on one of these units. The eyes are actually secondary. Part of why I've got the SD Gundam here. It's also the one SD Gundam I own and will ever own, because I think they're dumb. But I love having this next to my full-sized RX-78. I think it's 79, sorry. I think it's fantastic. I've also, of course, got the cartoony eyes on him. Instead of, they have a set of eyes that are like a regular camera lens eyes. I bought an SD Gundam. Why would I have normal cameras on an SD Gundam? I'm going to give it the goofy eyes anyways. You can see that main camera really well on him because he's got an oversized chibi head. This dude is funny. As much as I'm not the biggest SD Gundam person, this is funny to me. I love having them next to each other. But anyways, I'm going to put these to the side for now. Since I brought her out. Oh no, I messed up the pose anyway. It's fine. I'll fix it. I'm going to show this off since I brought it out. So this was, I showed off a couple of these kits. I have the boxes in the other room, actually. This is the 30-minute sister kit I put together. So they are, I think they're similar plastics, actually, as these. Yeah, they're similar plastics. It's another Bandai series. They are more mech girl, I would say. Not as nice from my limited experience as like the Megami device kits, and I would assume the Frame Arms Girls kits by extension, but I have not built those. But they're cool. I have a couple others to build. Got 2 others I need to build, so we'll do those eventually as well. I'm a little scared of moving parts because I'm not quite sure the full extent of all the articulation. And I don't want to break something by accident. But the articulation points are pretty cool. Like you've got ankle, knee joint, rotates at the thigh, so we can get some nice leg rotation. And then we've got some like hip movement, I suppose. That's upper leg, really, not really hip movement. We don't have a joint in the like hip segment, but there's a joint in the chest right there. So we get torso movement. Torso, that's actually the term I should be using. So that's cool. So we can get a certain degree of dynamic movement, which is neat. I gotta see. That's probably a point I can use for an action base. I'm sure they can be set up. It is another Bandai kit, So I would hope I can set it up with the same action bases as the Gundam use. But, and she comes with unarmored legs as well. So we've got both the armored up and armored down. I think it was a full set of extra legs. I'll look at her box again, because I forget if it's a full set of extra legs or just like the feet. I think it was a full set, though. Like feet, and then you unequip the armor pieces. But anyway, we're going to set her to the side and get back to the F2. But yeah, I've been curious about those kits for a while, just how good they are. And I've also got some kit bash ideas I want to do that involves taking one of these and throwing Gunpla pieces on them as their armor. So part of why I bought the kits was to see how feasible that would be based on the scaling and everything. So I still have to experiment with that. But yeah, I saw these two show up. Her and like the pink one, it's two that are like part of the same run. They go together. they're made to be a pair. But I saw those two, and I saw them as like bunnies, and I was like, oh, that was made for me. Oh, cool. Okay, so it's the headpiece. It's just three whole different headpieces. One without commander horn, one with the spot for the commander horn, and one with the armor plating pieces, which you can't really see on this camera. Sad, but there they are. Oh, that was my phone, which is also the camera. I'm gonna ignore that then. That's a spike. Why is there a spike? Is that on the... Yes, it is. Okay, never mind. So, yeah, there's a spot for the spike. I'm getting distracted by my own kit. They have spikes on the pauldrons. Anyway, I think I'm at that point, right? Yes, I am. I want the commander horn. Hopefully I can pretty easily replace... Oh, man, you know what makes me sad? I'm gonna go on another random little tangent. So, first of all, Bandai has no official tabletop game that works with Gunpla. And I think that that is a crime. However, there is a fan-made one, because of course there is, that I believe they're just working with One Year War stuff for, or at least they started with One Year War stuff. Which is smart. I believe that you should start with One Year War stuff. Why? What has more model kits out there than the 1 Year War? Like, we've had 40 years that the original... It's actually over 40 years now. But the original Gundam is over 40 years old. And we've had 40 years to build up its lore and build up its catalog of mobile suits. What else is going to have just a fantastic log of stuff that are going to be easier to research and balance? Not balance technically, because what you're going to have... Anyways, because they're not balanced. They're not inherently balanced. Like, this is not going to be as good as the Gundam. Why? Because its armor's not as thick. It's got a lower power reactor. I digress. That's why points costs exist in tabletop games. What was I thinking? There's a wealth of information, and there's a lot of stuff to work with. Technically speaking, I think maybe something like Wing would be easier to work with, because there's a lot less mobile suits, but the problem with something like Wing is it's going to be a lot more single unit heavy, because something like the Wing versus something like the Leos, it's just going to create a bigger disparity than you're going to see with like the majority of the 1 Year War stuff. 1 Year War stuff, you've got like a lot of different Zaku variants. You've got a lot of stuff to work with, right? So, I'm rambling, but point is, it's one of the more popular moments in the series history, and there's just a lot to work with. I think it's a great place to start. for making, if you're gonna do like a tabletop game based on the existing stuff, I think that's a great place to start. But what makes me sad about it is they take these kits that are designed to be articulated and they fix them on static bases. And I'm like, man, that's no fun. Like, I just don't want to do that to my kits. There's always a certain degree of sadness, too, when I see people doing diorama type stuff for that same reason, but that stuff's just gorgeous. So it's like there's that tiny tinge of sad from like looking at what's supposed to be an articulated kit stuck in a static pose that is replaced by the awe of all of the detailing people put into it. And it's like, yeah, that's fine. I can deal with that. But just like basing a high grade kit, basing anything above a high grade would be a lot worse for me, but I don't know, it just makes me a little sad. So I don't particularly love that. I would rather find a way to keep them. What I would love to, personally, because I've thought about. Oh, there goes my piece. I've thought about how to do. Wow, it's already been almost an hour and I haven't even finished the head. I've thought about how to do like a tabletop game as well. I still plan on like putting some work into that. But what I want to see is a game that actually incorporates the articulated aspect of them. I want to see a game that has an emphasis on line of sight so that you can target specific components that are actually exposed, thus emphasizing the need for positioning in the first place. Like taking one of these guys and having it in a kneeling position versus standing up, because you can move into a spot, get it positioned like that, have it undercover, but then have to make sure that it can both have line of sight from the camera and line of sight for the rifle so that it can actually hit its targets. Stuff like that. And that would be, distance-wise, I would measure that from the center, I think. So, like, you take basically center point of the chest unit, measure point to point from there, and whatever posing you do, so long as it's within that, it's fine. So, like, move it up, then drop it down to, like, a prone position, so long as that center point is still at that measuring point, you're good, stuff like that. And no pre-measuring, because pre-measuring is a coward system that was developed because people were babies. We should go back to the good old days of no pre-measuring. Pretty sure old Warhammer used to do that even. Might be wrong about that, though. Bolt Action does that. I prefer that in a system. I think modern tabletop, this is a different rant again. I'm not apologizing, by the way. I just think it's funny. But yeah, modern tabletop is, So a lot of modern tabletop has ruined itself by trying to appeal for a larger audience. There is no larger audience for tabletop games. I don't get it. I don't think it makes sense. Like when Warhammer reduced its mechanics, do you know who it brought in? Nobody. Nobody picked up Warhammer because they got rid of its tables. The people who were playing Warhammer kept playing Warhammer after they got rid of its tables. They didn't get new players from it. It was a waste of time. So now instead of having a system that accounts for a wide variety of different armor versus ballistics, we just have a basic numbers comparison and you roll a 6 or higher against that, or a 4 or higher against that, instead of having a system that accounts for a wider variety of different armors and whatnot. I don't like the new system. I don't like that they got rid of my blast templates. I don't like that they got rid of my scatter die. I don't like that they destroyed flamethrowers in the process, and I've had people argue with me about it because it's like, oh, it's better against smaller targets now, and I'm like, yeah, I don't field them against smaller targets. I field them against orcs because orcs are gonna rush at me with 50 guys, and I can fit half of them in a blast template. But now I'm capped at 6. So they've destroyed a lot of the functionality of some of those weapons in the process. You know, I liked the risk factor in the grenades before. It added a chaos to it that I felt was very appropriate for a battlefield. I think Primaris Marines are a plague. But that's a different thing entirely. No, it's not, because you know what? They dressed them up and made them pretty. They're there again for that like wider demographic that doesn't exist. It's beautiful. I wish my camera was a little better. I gotta do some investing if I'm gonna do a lot of this kind of stuff. But yeah. Yeah, they've ruined that. Well, okay. No, they have. They've ruined 40k. Have they ruined 40? I don't know if they've really ruined 40. Here's the thing. Some of the models are fantastic. Like, I don't like the cover of the Sisters of Battle Codex, but that's a different thing entirely, too. Can I fit you on the body now? Are you going to tell me I should? Am I just going to do it anyway? Because I think that's ready to go on the body. That's ready to go on the body, I think. I don't think it is, actually. Maybe it is. Yeah, I think that is. Pop. There we go. I put it on the body. Yay! It looks really tiny right now. Oh, I'm happy. Okay, anyways. Took me way too long to get that done. I don't think we're finishing today, guys. Anyways, yeah, like, I love the new Sisters of Battle models. I actually would like to get... They're too expensive. They're just way too expensive is the thing. But I would like to get them because, like, they look great. They look fantastic. Oh my gosh, there's so much more with the helmets now. I don't remember seeing a lot of their helmets with the old models. With the old metal models. I don't remember seeing D and PC. There we go. It's you, right? Yep. I don't remember seeing a lot of their helmets, and I didn't collect the old models because they were really expensive, right? They're still really expensive, but they used to be worse. Now that they're in plastic, I keep looking at them and going, wow, they're still more expensive than I want to pay. But they're less expensive than they used to be, as a result of them being G7. That one. As a result of them being in plastic now. But I don't remember a whole lot of the helmets on the old metal models. But now we've got like 2 different variations with helmets. And variations that are bald, and I will not be using those. I want them to have their hair or their helmets. I don't care if it fits with the setting. I actually disagree. Because if you actually look at the original Sisters of Battle, it's... Anyways. Now, I once saw somebody make a comment of, like, if your Sisters of Battle aren't, like, scarred and ugly, then you're not doing it right. And I'm like, that's actually objectively wrong. Look at the original artwork. They were envisioned as the, like, hot space woman stereotype. Like, people forget that 40k is a satire. People take it way too seriously. It's also, by the way, why, like, comparisons of, like, oh, would this thing survive in 40k? No, it wouldn't. That's such a stupid thing to ask. Nothing's gonna survive in 40k. 40k doesn't even survive in 40k. Like, the only reason the Imperium of Man exists is because they're over how many countless planets? It's a matter of volume. If they didn't have that volume, they wouldn't still be around. The Tau only still exists because they don't bother people enough. If anyone decided that, like, the Tau shouldn't exist, the Tau would be gotten rid of. Also, their technological advantage. But, like, I thought it was really dumb when I saw arguments of, like, would Gundam survive in 40K? And it's like, okay, well, first of all, what part of Gundam? We got to start with that. What part of Gundam? Because, you know, the Wing Zero is not the same thing as an RX-78. At all. If you're going to pit the Wing Zero versus the RX-78, you know who's going to win? The Wing Zero, because it's got a stupid Buster rifle that I think only has like 3 shots, but is going to wipe out half a planet. Of course the Wing's going to win that fight. It can fly. The RX-78 can't fly. That was part of this argument, too, where people were like, oh, can't a lot of them fly like that? No. A lot of them can't fly. Most mobile suits can't fly. Like, we got to figure out what we're actually talking about. If we're talking about, like, Seed, I think most of those can fly. I didn't watch Seed. I didn't like it. But, like, that's a really complicated question to ask. It's not so simple as just going, can Gundam survive? What part of it? But even then, I'm going to say no. Because we've got one Gundam. We got 1 or 2 Gundams, like, per series. Well, that's not true, actually. G Gundam, everyone has a Gundam. But again, G Gundam's, like, wacky, so we really got to start with establishing a standard of what Gundam are we going with. Are we going to go with 1 Year War? Is it going to be just Universal Century in general? Are we going to go with the entirety of the franchise? Which I think is a terrible idea. I think there's too much variation to make a sound argument if we're going to go with the entire franchise. I think we got to narrow it down to one series. And preferably, if we're going for UC, a timeline point in the series. Just for starters. But even after we figure all that out, my answer is still no, they can't survive. Because you know what? In the end of the day, warp demons are going to rip those things apart. They have no defense against that. Like, any new type that shows up in 40K is going to have to deal with, all of a sudden, a massive inpouring of warp energy. Because they're psychics. They're going to connect to the warp. And they're not prepared to deal with that. I can guarantee you the vast majority of new types that show up in the 40K universe would immediately get corrupted by chaos. So that's a large part of our ace pilots gone off the bat. And that's not getting into military capabilities, which they just don't have the same level of. People were talking about things like the Gundam and being like, oh, these beam rifles are going to rip apart, it's going to absolutely... I just want to go on. Hold up. I gotta figure out how this wants to... Oh, like that. Okay. Like, the beam rifle's going to rip apart a Titan. And it's like, well, actually, no, it's not, because those have shields. Those have energy shields. Which is something that doesn't exist in the majority of Gundam, which they're not prepared to deal with. So can it run loops around the Titan? Maybe, but it doesn't matter because it can't hurt the Titan. The Titan has so many guns on it, it's going to rip apart the mobile suit. Like, and even if they win on the ground, well, that's fine. We've got Imperial capital ships flying above the planet that are just going to bombard it with orbital bombardments, and they can't do anything about it. Because a Gundam is not capable of atmospheric flight. They're not capable of leaving a planet's atmosphere on their own to go up to deal with the threat. They would have to board onto some sort of carrier, which is going to be bombarded. Even if they get up there, those things are huge. And have shields. And have guns. You're not killing an Imperial capital ship. A Gundam's not, anyway. Like, these are not comparable universes, and that's the problem with making these comparisons at all. Nothing can survive in the 40K universe because the 40K universe was designed to be unsurvivable. That's part of its whole purpose. So it's just a stupid argument. Like, I don't see why it's an argument at all. The new Slime Marble model's really cool, though. I want to get that. I got mad at them with Slime Marbo too, though. Because with the new stuff, when they updated all the rules, the first thing I noticed is where's Slime Marbo? Where is his rule sheet? Why is he not in here? And I got very upset. I'm like, are they really trying to unwrite Slime Marbo? And then they released a new model, and they're like, it includes his rules. And I'm like, oh, of course it does. Because now I have to get the model that you're going to make in limited quantities and is going to sell out, and then I'm not going to be able to find it. But that model's really nice. It's really great. I really like that model. So I do want that. They've got a it's a Sister of Battle, a Hospitaller model that I also want to pick up because it's gorgeous. And I gotta pick up the Saint Celestine kit because she's gorgeous. I love Saint Celestine. See, there are two reasons I want to play Sisters of Battle: Celestine the Living Saint and the Exorcist tank. The Exorcists are great. What it is it's a tank, but the gun is replaced by pipe organs that shoot missiles. I love the Exorcist. It is the greatest thing. So I want to run Exorcists and Celestine. But, you know, they're expensive. That and the old Penitent engines. I don't like the new ones as much. It's really subtle differences. They're not that different, and the new models are good models. I liked the old Penitent engines better. But Penitent engines are really cool. So I wanted Penitent engines, Repentia, and Celestine, and the Exorcists. Seraphim are pretty too. Like, the Sisters of Battle are great. It's a fantastic faction. Their aesthetics are on point. I never even got it. The helmets are great. I love their helmets. I'm so glad we have more of their helmets on the modern models. They're so pretty. I love their helmets. They have some of my favorite armor in the setting. It's very like Renaissance look. Oh, it's great. And of course, form-fitted. I'm sure someone's going to complain about that, but, like, see if I care. It's cool-looking armor. Every day I go into my game store, every time I go into my game store, I see the Sisters of Battle models, and I go, maybe I'll pick up a squad. And then I look at the price, and I go, maybe I won't pick up a squad. And can you believe, I overheard someone the other day being like, oh, it doesn't actually cost any more than, like, any other tabletop game. And, oh, it took all my self-control to not go, oh, really, you want to test that? You want me to, like, compare it to any other tabletop game you see sitting on the shelves over there? Literally any of them. Because what you will quickly find is it's about twice the price of, like, any other tabletop game. I can play Marvel Crisis Protocol, pick up a $100 box set, and be set. The $200 box set for $40K isn't even enough. And it includes less. I think the unit, model-wise, it includes more models. The Crisis Protocol starter set is 10 models, I think it is, because you're basically, for the most part, you're doing squads of 5, right? more or less. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. It all depends on points costs, who you choose to, all that stuff, right? But it's more or less, you're looking at like a squad of 5, maybe 6 guys. That's your typical team size, right? The starter kit comes with its 5v5. It's 5 heroes, 5 villains. It's the dice, the measuring, because it's all custom dice, custom measuring tools, so you have to buy their stuff. Anyways, yeah, that company bothers me. They've always done that, and it bothers me. It's really nice stuff, but I don't like necessarily having to buy all this custom stuff that I can only use with that. Am I working on the leg right now? I think I'm working on a leg right now. So it's either a leg or it's an arm. It's an arm. It's an arm. Never mind. Oh, yeah, that's the... I should have seen that. Okay. I'm working on the arm. So I need... PC5 and D3. Yeah, that looks like the next piece I want. 1. Look at all these ones. 3, 5. Ah, it's this one. Yeah, but the Crisis Protocol starter kit, it comes with the dice, it comes with the custom measuring stuff, it comes with all the cards and stuff, it comes with 10 characters, right? A 40k starter set's gonna come with what? Like, I'm trying to think of the ones that exist. I think they typically come with like a squad each and a couple other stuff, so it's 10 units per faction and like a couple of other higher end units. I'm not quite sure, but it costs you twice as much for a lot less. And you can't just play off of that either. Now, like Crisis Protocol, you probably just don't want to play with the starter stuff anyway. Like I bought a bunch of X-Men stuff. I don't have the starter kit actually, but I bought a bunch of X-Men stuff, and that didn't come in the starter kit. So I've got Wolverine, Storm, Cyclops. Who else do I have? Wolverine, Storm, Cyclops. Who else do I have? I'm going insane. I've got 4 of them, I want to say. It's Wolverine. Well, I got 6 total. Who's the other one in that? I don't remember who the other guy in that set is, and I'm quite frustrated. Wolverine, Storm, and Cyclops. It's probably like Beast or something. I don't remember. And then I've got Domino and Cable. And also I've got the Punisher and Taskmaster, but that that's different. That they're unaligned. Anyways, and then I need D3. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze, and it's quite unpleasant. There we go. D3. But anyway, point being, I think the individual characters are $40. So my Domino and Cable cost me like $40, I want to say. And then I think for the 2, it was like $60 or $70. I don't remember what they cost me, so it might have cost me like $100 or something around that for all those. I'm gonna have to go look at them all again because I don't quite remember. But I'm set now. I have a full X-Men team. I'm done. I don't have to spend any more. 2 squads of Sisters of Battle aren't enough, and they're $60 a squad. There's $120 for 2 squads. And that's just starting. That's not getting leaders, which are like $60 on their own. That's not getting vehicles, which are like, what do they run? Like, I want to say some of them are in the $50 range to over 100, depending on what you're looking at. It's so much more expensive. You know, Infinity. Nobody plays Infinity, but Infinity is like, what? They'll charge you like, what, $70 for 5 models? But then you're set? You only need like the 5 models because it's skirmish-based gameplay? So on paper, it looks more expensive, but the models are way nicer. And you don't need like 500 of them. So you're spending way less. Like, no, 40K is way more expensive than other tabletop games. What about Bolt Action? Because I mentioned that earlier. Bolt Action's just straight up cheaper. Bolt Action costs you like, what, 30, 40 bucks a squad? As opposed to like Warhammer 60? It also shows in model quality, mind you. Bolt Action models are not as nice as Citadel models, for sure. But the point still remains. It's way more expensive to play. It is not cheaper at all. It is not the same price range. It's not cheaper. It's way more expensive. Let me see. This needs a particular orientation. Looks like... yeah, so it just needs that facing that way. Okay. So that's the front of that. Now we need B1 and 2. Those should be identical, right? Yeah, the arm segments are identical. Yeah, but if anybody tells you that 40K is just as expensive as any other tabletop game, tell them they're coping. Because they are. They're hardcore coping. I don't know how people manage to convince themselves of that. You know, I think the game used to be worth it back before they simplified everything. But now they've simplified everything. That said, I got a great deal on used Guard, Imperial Guard. I had a friend who was selling a bunch of his stuff. I paid, I think, $200 for an entire army's worth of Guard. So that was a steal. I've got a Basilisk. I need more. I need 3, so I need 2 more Basilisks. And it's like a, what, $50-something model. But I've got a Basilisk. The Basilisk, what was it, like 120-inch range, I think it was? I dropped that the other day. They were like talking about like 60-inch range or something like that. And I dropped that on someone. I'm like, laughs in my whatever absurd number. I looked it up. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I pulled up my stat sheet for it just for the flex, for the Basilisk. And they came back later and they're like, oh my gosh, he wasn't kidding. And I'm like, no, I had to look that up. I had to pull it up because I don't have it on hand. I gave you the exact range of that cannon. And it doesn't need line of sight because it's artillery. I love the Basilisk. It's ridiculous. I want to field 3 of them. My plan is to field like 3 of them, a bunch of mortar squads, and then have like a firing line right in front of it, so that I just bombard them without even having line of sight. And then once they're forced to move in, I just unload with the firing squads. Of course, that requires me to buy 2 more Basilisks, a bunch of heavy weapons teams. I think I'm good on the troops, at least. I bought $200 worth of Guard models, so, like, I should be good on the Guard. but I need the vehicles and heavy weapons crews. For the mortar teams. I don't actually own the mortar teams. Yeah, I say it's not worth it anymore, but, like, I'm gonna be blunt, too. It's still fun. I still enjoy it. I like wargaming, so even though, like, I do think the game is hurt by them simplifying it to the degree they did, the game is still enjoyable. I would just prefer to be playing with old rules. Unfortunately, a lot of people I know went and sold their... When they changed the rules, I knew people that sold their templates. And I was like, why would you do that? We can still play with these rules. I prefer them. I also wish Games Workshop would republish Gorka Morka. I don't know why they haven't. It would literally cost them nothing to throw it up as a PDF. They own it. Should put it up on their they should put it up on their website as a PDF, charge $40 per download. I would do it. I'd be paying $80 in total because it's 2 different books. It's the rules and the other book. Those are the titles of the books. Because they're orcs. So Gorka Morka is really cool because what it is, it's a campaign-based small skirmish game based around vehicle combat. On Gorka Morka, which is a planet that is like completely populated by orcs. They crashed there once upon a time, and they're now stuck there fighting each other for parts. Long story, very short. And so what you do is you take your small warband of orcs, you go out into the desert in your vehicles, and it's like Mad Max style, whole groups of people crammed on these vehicles, jumping on each other's vehicles, trying to shoot at each other and take loot from each other. It's great. It's fantastic. And, like, your guys will take wounds after battles, and it can have, like, some seriously good effects, some seriously negative effects. There's, like, all these mechanics for, like, driving and what. Gorka Morka is really cool. But they haven't published it in years. Because for some reason, Games Workshop is stupid. They don't like money. I don't know why they don't like money. Like, what do they have against making money? Hi, Nani. How are you doing? Are you still here? I know you can't chat if you are, so don't worry about it. But you like my, you like hearing me rant about 40K? I'm a little salty, too, because my friend who actually owns the 40K books, we never did any, or sorry, the Gorka Morka books, we never did anything with it. We made plans. I have a truck. I have some boys. I went out and bought a model car to turn into a Gorka Morka vehicle. Because you can do that with the rules, too. You can... I believe you can do that with the rules anyway. You can buy yourself a car, chop it up. You know, you should make it look orky. It's fantastic. And quite bluntly, even if you can't actually do that with the rules as written, screw the rules. I'm going to homebrew that. Oh, I just messed up. Whoops. This was supposed to go in here, too. Thankfully, that actually pried apart really easily. I've had moments where I do that, where I'm not paying attention, I do something dumb. It looks lovely. And then the pieces are hard to pull apart. I'm quite grateful that I enjoy. Anyways. Kind of feel like I should have just... Yeah, it's telling me to do it twice. Okay, we're gonna do that a second time. I should have just done that in the first place. These pieces. Right? No. Do I have... Yeah, there are 2 of these. Okay. That's why I was confused. Because it's these pieces on the other runner. Tyranids are cool too. Kind of want mids. See, what I want though is I want to play against Nids because I run Imperial Guard. And when you do Nids versus Imperial Guard, that's just Starship Troopers. Technically speaking, if you want to do Starship Troopers properly, you gotta do a monster. I forget what the term is for it. There's a term people use for it, but you get the bigger ones. Oh, wait, I need another part I didn't clip out. Whoops. That's fine. But you need the big guys instead of just hordes of the little guys. But I like fighting hordes of the little guys because it makes me feel like my guards can actually do something. Which, fun fact, flashlights are the las guns. A lot better than people realize. Because they don't seem good in context. Okay, I need the other one. There we go. In context, they don't seem very good because you're up against things with like crazy powerful armor, thick hides, stuff like that. It's hard to. It's hard to actually like deal with them. They're really hard to kill, right? A las gun versus human target, it's just gonna blow you in half. They're terrifying. So they've got this reputation of being absolutely worthless, terrible guns, and it's like, well, sure, against what they're fighting against, but that'll kill you. That'll kill you really effectively. So that's funny. And bolt guns are wild. Bolt guns fire explosives. I cannot believe I've been here for an hour and a half. And I have not even built one arm. Did build a head, though, to be fair. We're gonna keep going for a little bit, though. I'm not gonna be able to go forever, so I'm gonna have to wrap it up pretty soon, but we'll try to actually get something done first. Kind of want to finish these arms first, but I should pick up the pace. I've been doing too much talking, not enough building. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm going to talk about 40k again. I want Battlefleet Gothic. And I know I'm not the only person who wants Battlefleet Gothic. So why do we keep getting all of these new games from Games Workshop and not Battlefleet Gothic? It doesn't make sense. Again, Games Workshop hates money for some reason. And I don't get it. I'm struggling to remember to keep my hands in focus. So you can see what I'm doing. So, for those who don't know, Battlefleet Gothic was a naval-based miniatures game that Games Workshop put out. So it was based off of their space combat. It was their starships fighting each other. It was great. It's fantastic. I really want to play it. It remains one of the only naval miniatures games I've personally seen that makes torpedoes an actual physical object that gets placed on the map and has its own movement values. It's one of the coolest looking naval miniatures game I've ever seen, and it's 40K. It's not even real boats. But they won't reprint it. They won't reprint it, they won't update it, they won't do anything with it. Models have become really hard to get a hold of because they're very, 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 very old at this point, and it's frustrating. But they'll put out Titanicus, or whatever the heck they called it, which is Imperial Titans. So we got Titanicus, we've got Aeronautica Imperialis, which I have one of the starter sets for that because it looks great, which is aircrafts. So we've got aircrafts, we got Titans. They did more Blood Bowl. I mean, that was an older thing. They did Killzone, Necromunda. They did all this stuff, and we haven't gotten Gorka Morka, and we haven't gotten Battlefleet Gothic. They have existing IP that they're just not doing anything with. I guess it's all within the same IP, actually. But they have existing games. They have existing systems they haven't done anything with. Mind you, some of those of them doing stuff with things that already existed. I believe Kill Team already existed before they did stuff with it recently. I think Necromunda did as well. I believe that was them bringing back an old game. I might be wrong about that. I think they brought Squats back recently, too. But, like, nobody was happy about it. I wasn't happy about that. I looked at what they did with them and went, that's not what I asked for. I asked for the dwarves with the bearded mech suits. And the bikers with shotguns. But I'd have to look that up again. I just remember looking at it and being very disappointed. Not sure what they came out in either, to be fair. Because I don't know if they came to 40K or if they came to Necromunda or what. From my understanding, Necromunda isn't doing well. I don't think people really liked it. I don't know, though. I didn't really follow it. I didn't really... Again, they're all too expensive for me anyway, so it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, oh, that's cool, and then never really looked into it from there. But I heard some people not happy with it. I don't know why. I don't know what the issue was with it, but I just heard some stuff. So yeah, that's interesting. Back to you. We need 3. To you. We need 3. I remember seeing this dumb board game. What was it? Space Marine Adventures. And I looked at that and I'm like, wow, that feels oddly like something you're trying to target to a younger demographic, considering it's called, quote, Space Marine Adventures. And it's at Target. Why are you trying to advertise this to little kids? This is not appropriate, nor do little kids care. I know they did try to push stuff like that before. I don't know whatever happened with it, but they were talking about like kid-friendly like stories or whatever that are based on 40K, and I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. No, I need to go into Slanesh or like the flayed ones, what they are. Like this isn't a kids. This is not no. Like, if someone who's a bit younger wants to get into the tabletop, I'm not going to stop them. But for them to market it towards a younger demographic when those sorts of things exist in their setting, it's just straight up irresponsible, is what it is. It's not for kids. Never was. Space Marine's great, though. I'm so scared for the sequel. Did it come out? I don't think it came out. I kind of stopped paying attention. I've stopped paying attention to a lot of stuff. Space Marine Adventures. We're all like color coordinated too. Because they picked Space Marines from different legions. So we had like a Super Sentai team of Space Marines. It was so stupid looking. Pretty sure they were unique models too, if I remember correctly. So it was one of those cases where it's like, oh, pick this up, you're going to get unique models out of it. Which is the way you get collectors to pick it up anyway, despite the fact that it looks dumb and it's overpriced. Because, ooh, unique models. Can't say no to that. I also want them to reprint their tabletop stuff. So I want a reprinting of... They could have done this, to be fair. I haven't been paying attention. But I want... like, Dark Crusade, Black Crusade, and Dark Heresy. I want those. Rogue Trader. I want all those reprinted. Again, if they haven't already, they might already have. And I just didn't see it. Because those are all really cool games. But again, unless they've reprinted them recently, they're kind of hard to get a hold of. I played a little bit of Black Crusade. I played one session of Black Crusade. I was playing as a oh, I don't remember the proper terms for all of it. One of the a psyker. He was a thousand. Was it a Thousand Suns psyker? Space Marine. It was a Chaos Space Marine psyker that was a follower of Zinch. Specifically, he was under Magnus. Magnus the Red. So that was fun. That was cool. But we only did one session of that. I guess I should do a brief explanation of all those RPGs too. Black Crusade is Chaos. You play as Chaos. You're building up a Black Crusade to wage war against the Imperium. Dark Heresy, you play as Inquisitors. So it's like the polar opposite of that. You play as the dudes who are trying to stamp out heresy. That one I never played any of. And then you've got Rogue Trader. We play as a Rogue Trader. And Rogue Traders are individuals. I don't really know exactly what a Rogue Trader is. They're part of the Imperium. They have the ability to wander the galaxy and do what they will, but they're part of the Imperium, and I'm not quite sure the full connection there, what all they're allowed to do and why. I've always kind of seen them, and this might be wrong, I might be incorrect about this, but I've always seen them as sort of privateers of 40k. But I might be incorrect. I'm not quite sure what they are. I like sea shanties. But yeah, I would like to play more Rogue Trader. I would like to play more Black Crusade. Wow, that was a bird. So yeah, Black Crusade was interesting because part of Black Crusade is building up a Black Crusade. It's turning people to chaos and then leading them against the Imperium. And I think that's neat. Oh, that didn't go in properly. Remember, kids? Well, I was going to say, remember, kids, your hobby knife is a very valuable tool for prying apart pieces that you didn't put on correctly, but that doesn't want to come off. So, that didn't work. Can I just wedge? Okay, cool, we got it. We got it. It's in place now. It's fine. We fixed it. Oh man, this is another thing I want to do. I gotta figure that one out. Is I want to play what was it called? Sea of Thieves. And use it as an excuse to sing sea shanties and then nobody can stop me. I love Sea of Thieves. As someone who's never played Sea of Thieves is fantastic. So I do like Sea of Thieves. I want to play it. I wanted to play it since it came out because I've always looked at it and been like, alright, it's sailing. It's a casual sailing simulator is what it is. And I've known people that looked at it and were like, this looks boring. There's nothing to do. And I'm like, what do you mean there's nothing to do? You can sail. You can sail. And they're like, yeah, that's it, though. And I'm like, well, that's all I want from it. So that's it. That's all I want. I want to be able to, sail into the wind, and I want to shoot people with cannons. It's everything I could have wanted from a game like that. I don't know where the game currently is. I've heard they've added a lot more, and it's, all that jazz. But it really is like, when it came out and I looked at it, I was like, it's sailing game done. Give. Casual sailing sim. That's all I needed to hear. Gonna need both runners, right? For D4, I'm assuming, yeah. Both of D's runners. I want to hurry this along, though. Because I have things to do today. That was the wrong piece, wasn't it? That was the wrong piece. I am very smart. Gotta remember that that piece is now at the bottom of my box. For when I do need that piece. And PC1, so you're on the little boy runner. PC. Oh, it's one of these that has. These. I probably mentioned this already. I bet I mentioned this last time. These are like rubberized for the joints and whatnot, which is very cool. And I'm sure I mentioned that already. So you're hearing it again. I hope you enjoy hearing it multiple times. I will say it next time as well. Because I'll forget whether I said it or not by next time. Now watch, I'll remember I said it last time and I'll say it anyway. Alright. Let's trim that. I don't need to go too hard on these because these are all going to be in joints and stuff. So it's like I want to make sure they're smooth to move properly and fit properly and everything because these are going to be some of the tighter fits. But I don't need to look pretty. Nobody's going to see these. These pieces are going to be inside other components. Okay. These are going to fit on like so. There we go. That's one. And two. There we need the instructions trying to tell me something there, and I'm not sure what it is, but we need B3 and 4. 3 and 4, and 3 and 4. These guys. Boink. Boink. There we go. And some nice runner clipping ASMR right there. Yep, that's the good stuff. Oh gosh, so Gundam Evolution's getting shut down. Old news, but like Gundam Evolution's getting shut down next month, I think it was. End of next month. They're on their last season right now. Their last season is the final shooting. Ironic. For those of you who don't know, that's an iconic scene from the original Gundam series. That happens at the very end of the series. It's very iconic. It's a really good moment in the series. It is absolutely a climax to the series. It's fantastic. Well, not to the series, but like it is a climax within. Yeah, it's great. The overall climax is something. It's a lot of spoilers. I don't want to talk too much about it because it's a lot of like very heavy spoilers that I would like to talk to. Actually, I'm gonna have to make a whole video about it eventually, but like, it's gonna be a video with a spoiler warning on it. Because it is a very important, very impactful moment at the ending of that series. It's so good, but like, I want to talk about it. I'll save it, but I want to talk about it, but I'll save it. Man, I want to talk about it though. It's really interesting too. This is the most I'm going to say on it, right? It's really interesting because it's a moment that I definitely, you can see that Gundam was not supposed to be a franchise. With the end, how the original Gundam ends in a way that makes the most sense if you take it as a standalone work that was not meant to have a sequel. There's a lot to talk about there for what it means and how we can interpret that ending when taken as a standalone, and how that ending changes when we take it as a franchise. But I'm going to save it. Because, again, it is super spoiler territory. Just need to make clips and watch it. She's finished so much. She's on to, like, the last quarter of the series. We just got to side 6. And we're about to start talking about new types. Reminds me of the one time, though, I tried to play Federation versus Xeon with a friend, because it has multiplayer. I was like, so the arcade run mode has co-op and PvP. So if I pick this and you pick the same faction, we're gonna play together through the whole run. But if we play this and you pick the enemy faction, we're gonna fight each other. And then you pick the enemy faction, and I'm like, that wasn't why I told you that. And then he complained about the game being difficult to get, and I'm like, well, yes, and I told you that. It's like, I told you to play with me so that I can kind of teach you how the game works first, but you're the one who decided to fight me and then complain about it later when I won. I'm not gonna let you win. I don't know why you expect me to do that. This isn't a game you're going to pick up off the bat because it's clumsy and unintuitive. Federation versus Xeon is great. Federation versus Xeon is clumsy and unintuitive. And that's what makes it great. So if you've played any of the Extreme Versus games, that's where they started. And you kind of understand how it works if you have, but they don't quite play the same. They don't have like weird charge up mechanics. Federation versus Xeon and Gundam versus Zeta Gundam, they don't have weird charge up mechanics. They're a lot slower and clumsier. They're not quite the same as what you'd expect from the Extreme Versus games, but it is where those games came from. So you're going to see the same skeleton within the Federation versus Xeon and Gundam versus Zeta Gundam. I think the games are fantastic, but I also think they are clumsy and unintuitive, as I've said 3 times now. Because they are. They absolutely are. So that goes like that, right? Yes. Oh, I need another piece. Yes? No? Maybe? Oop. So, yes, but it's showing me the other way around. Okay. Okay, got it. That goes there. I forgot to cut out PC11. So we need 2 of these. And this is gonna be dropped. I'm just gonna go in here. There's another instance where those tweezers really come in handy. Those tweezers I don't have on me. Yeah, Gunpla have some itty bitty pieces. Hmm. There we go. That's a shoulder. Oh, and I think I know what this is for the pauldron and whatnot. That's what that is. Okay. That's good. Ow. Oh, wow. I actually hurt myself. Amazing. Hurting myself on plastic model kits. There's a new one. That was not on the New Year's resolution. New Year's resolution. 780p New Year's. Or sorry, it's 720 and 1080. Yeah, my New Year's resolution is 1080. Probably wasn't funny. I'm probably just tired. I'm losing steam, but I'm not done. Okay. Shoulders done. Oh boy, it wants me to build hands? What if I just don't? I'm gonna do it anyway. Because it'll look nicer. Oh, okay. B5. B is the white pieces. These. In there. Excuse me. You guys want those for clip compilations, right? My my hiccups are cute, right? Right? It's it's the VTuber thing. You have to clip my hiccups and sneezes. I should make my own compilation reels. I don't think I'm gonna do it enough. I'm usually very careful about that on camera, but man, how funny would that be to upload my own like sneeze compilations? That'd be terrible. That'd be so many degrees of cursed. I don't like have like cute dainty sneezes. No, my nose explodes. Just everywhere. Not really, but like everywhere. I also want to find time to play guitar today. I don't think I have time to play guitar today. And that's why I'm not getting better. That's true, by the way. Well, okay, no, that's not actually true. I take it back. I actually am getting better. Not as fast as I would like to be, but I am noticing actual improvement. I'm getting better with my like I haven't been doing enough is this thing, right? So I'm not growing enough. But like I've got my major chords pretty much memorized at this point. I can switch between a good chunk of them pretty organically. Not perfectly, but it's getting there. I'm starting to hit the strings I want to hit more reliably. So there is growth there, and I'm quite happy with that. I'm actually very happy with that. But it could be better. It could be better. I also need more like technical know-how. Because right now I don't feel like man, Zakus, you're so pretty. Anyways. Yeah, I'm not there yet with guitar. And that's completely understandable and should be expected. But I am just... Was I mistaken? Did I have it backwards? I think I had it backwards. I had it backwards. This is the part for the pauldrons and things. This part goes into the arm. I should have realized that I was backwards on that. Oh well. Arms are almost done. See, this is kind of why I was hesitant on starting the hands right now. Because there's multiple different hand pieces, but it's fine. I'll build them anyway. Because ultimately, in the end of the day, I'm going to have every single hand piece built. And I'm just going to swap between them as necessary. I'm going to cut out some hands. I don't really need instructions for this. Hands are easy. Said no artist ever. No, but the hands are really, really, really simple for these. It's like 3 pieces that just click together. One of the most complicated parts is finding them on the runners. Alright. That. Okay. There they are. There's the back of the hands. Alright, which ones do I need here? I need 6 for this. Oh, they're both 6. It's all the same part. Never mind. For a second there, I thought they were 2 different hand back pieces. No, they're the same. I once had someone say a thing about part of why they don't like mecha anime. That was like a, it was one of those cases where I looked at it and I was like, I can understand what you're saying. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I get where it's coming from. They were like, I don't really like mecha anime because it always just feels like, oh, the guy with the stronger mech wins. Like, there's one guy that just has a better mech and he wins because he's just using the better mech. And I'm like, so I get what you're saying. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can see where that opinion comes from. And the thing is, Gundam kind of falls into that in the beginning of the series too, honestly, when you think about it. You don't even have to think about it. Like, literally, like, that is the only reason Amuro survives the early battles he does, is because his mech's better. That's canon, that's true, that's real. So Gundam is really interesting to look at from that specific perspective, because when we start out, yeah, absolutely. He's able to kill 2 Zakus because he's in a machine that's just better. They shoot him and it doesn't do any damage because his armor's too thick. You know, Char is able to run circles around him but can't kill him because the armor's too thick. And that's the only reason Amuro's alive. But that rapidly becomes less the case the longer it goes on. You know, we eventually end up by the end of the series, this is the part that makes it really interesting, I think. By the end of the series, Amuro is outpacing the Gundam. So at the beginning of the series, the very beginning, the Gundam is the one doing all the heavy lifting. By the end of the series, the Gundam can't even keep up. And I think that's like a fascinating aspect of character growth and development. And then when it comes to him like using just the better machine, that's not even true anymore by the end of the series. By the end of the series, his enemies are using machines equal to or better than what he is, but it just doesn't matter anymore by that point. He survived too much. He grew too much. Now they can't kill him. So it's an interesting one to look at from that specific perspective of like, oh, well, mecha, it's always just like the better mech. The better mech always wins, right? Because it's like, well, you know, it does start like that. And it doesn't end like that. It's interesting. Makes me wonder about other instances like that within the series too, though. Of specifically people overcoming the objectively better machine. Yeah. Yeah, but I see where it comes from, though, because, like, for starters, Gurren Lagann is super popular and absolutely does that, right? A lot of Super Robot does that. I would say Gunbuster... Yeah, I would say Gunbuster does that, right? Like, the only reason they're able to fight the space kaiju is because the Gunbuster is so absurdly powerful that it just obliterates everything. So, like, anything that falls adjacent to... Now, I argue Gunbuster's not Super Robot, And I argue that because Gunbuster comes in here. I'm peeking the mic. I apologize. I argue that because Gunbuster comes in here and has these science lessons after every episode explaining the theoretical physics behind how their light speed travel works and all that kind of stuff. You don't get that out of Super Robot. Gunbuster may play around with some Super Robot concepts, but Gunbuster is not a Super Robot series. Gunbuster is a real robot series. Anyways, a lot of Super Robot falls into that. A lot of Super Robot is also Saturday morning cartoon. I don't feel like a lot of the real Robot does. I feel like a lot of the real Robot is on more level playing fields with its machines. But I still understand where that take comes from. So it's one of those where it's like, I can argue this, but you have to hear me out. And for some of these, you gotta put up with a little bit of that till it gets deeper into it. Of course, to be fair, I don't think the mech fights are what makes Gundam special. If we're talking about the original series. Actually, my issue with a lot of non-UC Gundam is the fact that it's about the mech fights. More so than anything else. Like Gundam Wing, what's Gundam Wing about? Gundam Wing's about the mech fights. Gundam Wing is not about the war. It's about the mech fights, it's about looking at the pretty boys. And I do not like Gundam Wing for it. Because Gundam Wing has the most, surface-level character development. The most surface-level character depth. It is skin-deep. It has the most surface-level war plot. And the rest of it is, look at our Gundam that is designed to look like a Grim Reaper that uses a beam scythe. Ooh. I don't like... And I hate, too. I've seen people be like... it was recently I saw a Twitter thread talking about... I guess there's a competition where it's... essentially, you take a design and you design it as if it's from a different universe. And I saw people looking at a design. It was specifically the Barbados, which I don't think they went hard enough making it look like a UC suit, but I digress. It was a really good design. They took the Barbados, made it a UC suit, and I saw people commenting on that, like, oh, this reminds me of why I don't like the UC. And I'm like, this reminds me of why I don't listen to people like you. You know why I like UC? I like UC designs for exactly why they don't. Look at how chunky this is. I can see this taking a bullet. Look at the Barbados and tell me that thing can take a bullet. I like the Barbados, to be clear. I think it's gorgeous. But tell me that thing can take a bullet. It cannot. It will not survive in a conflict zone. Why? Because it's got a waist segment that's this thin. You take one hit there. I'm pretty sure an anti-material rifle could take that thing out because it's a structural weak point and it's really thin and exposed. Why is it exposed like that? It bugs me. It bugs me a lot. Like, I love Iron-Blooded Orphans designs, except for with the waists. Originally I had a similar complaint with the suits from Witch from Mercury, but taking a second look at them, I'm like, so I still think they're too thin, but there's still plating there. So it's not as bad as Iron-Blooded Orphans. And there's a couple designs in UC that I look at too, and I'm like, this definitely is not super structurally sound compared to some of the other stuff, but some of that are also on things that are designed to have lighter frames for mobility purposes. I don't know, there's a lot of interesting stuff you can analyze with mobile suit design. And ultimately, could you sit here and argue that it doesn't matter? You could, but you'd be wrong. Why? Because this is the starting point of the real robot genre. This created the genre of mecha to be more realistic. It kind of matters. If you want me to take it seriously, you gotta put some serious effort into your designs beyond just what looks cool. If you want me to take it seriously, you're going to need to show me that it makes some degree of sense, that it looks like something that should be used in its context. And you know what? Sometimes UC still fails at that. There are a couple UC designs I think are really bad, or are not necessarily bad, but not my favorite. Check Moon Gundam. Check Gundam Crossbone, which I believe is UC. If it's not, feel free to correct me on that. I believe it's UC though. But Crossbone, I think those designs are awful. It's really popular, but I think they're awful. I don't like Witch from Mercury's designs. I think they're overdressed up. That's not UC though. Now, I do like... This is going to contradict a lot of what I say about mobile suit designs, but I do like G Gundam designs. I like G Gundam designs because it doesn't matter. G Gundam's super robot, and you can't convince me otherwise. G Gundam is mildly offensive because it's super robot, and you can't convince me otherwise. It literally took this genre that was designed to get away from those tropes and reintroduced them. I don't know what they were thinking. I know exactly what they were thinking with G Gundam, actually, and this is actually true. They were thinking, Dragon Ball Z is really popular. How do we capitalize on the Dragon Ball Z popularity? And so they made G Gundam. That's real. That's true. That's why they made it. And take a look at G Gundam with the context of it is the Dragon Ball. It is the Gundam equivalent to Dragon Ball. And you will take a look at it and go, oh my gosh, it is. So I kind of like it for being that unashamedly just stupid, but I also kind of hate it for being that unashamedly stupid. It's very conflicted feelings. That said, I have the Shining Gundam over there on my shelf, ready to be put together, so... Also, the one exception to my thing with mobile suit designs is build fighters, because build fighters is a bunch of kids building model kits that then fight each other. So it's meta, and it doesn't have to make sense, because it's people in an artistic hobby building things to be artistic hobby works. And honestly, I am super okay with them taking a lot of liberties with MS design, because it encourages other people to pick up model kits and really have fun with them. And I think that is something to be celebrated. Like, I don't like wing designs, right? I'm not going to tell people not to buy Gundam Wing. If people like that design, they absolutely should buy it. If they want to see them print more kits based on Gundam Wing, they absolutely should buy them, because that's how you get them to do it. Now, I want UC kits to be the most produced thing, but guess what? They are. So I'm happy too. We have trouble getting some of these kits sometimes, but they do produce a lot of them. I might not like Seed, but that doesn't mean I want them to stop making Seed kits. I want the model kit industry to do well. I'm not going to buy them, but there's a market for it. Although, I am tempted to buy one thing from Seed. They had a character, I believe... He was voiced by the voice actor for Amuro Ray, and he had a mobile suit that basically looked like the RX-78, and I'm like, alright, if that's a kit, I kind of want that one, because that's a pretty fun meta reference. So I would actually kind of like that one. That's kind of cool. I actually like Gurren Lagann, but I also haven't finished Gurren Lagann, so... I should fix that. Because it's, Gurren Lagann is one of the anime ever. Yep. Whee! Okay. I need the PC parts again. Personal computer parts. This is my personal computer runner. PC2. What? 2 is right. That's 3. That's 2. There's only 1 2. Neat. Oh my gosh, it's 11:40. I gotta get moving. You go on how? Like that. There we go. And then you go on like so. This is how Zaku's do shields. I'm not sure how I feel about how Zaku's do shields, I'm going to be honest. There are definitely moments in the original series where Shari uses this in a manner I think is completely impossible. I'm not sure how he positions it the way he does, because it's fixed. This is going to be fixed here anyway, so let me go ahead. Before I do that, let me double check and make sure I'm not supposed to do something weird here first. I don't think so. Well, we're not going to fully attach it just in case. Okay. So that's how that sits there, right? There are moments where he brings this thing in front of him like this. And I don't know how he does that, because I don't see how this joint is able to swivel like this. And this doesn't move forward, like this doesn't swivel like that. So I don't know how that works. I have no idea how. The only thing I can think of is, but see, then it blocks there too. It doesn't have the ability to fully swivel the torso in front of it like this. I don't know how he's managing to take this piece and move it up in front of him like this. I have no idea how that works. In addition, I swear it grows when he does it, so that it covers way more of his body. So, animation shenanigans. We're almost done. I've been going for over 2 hours, and I'm only just now finishing the arms. So it's going to take us one more stream. I'm absolutely going to have to take another stream after this, but whoop, we're almost done. Maybe 2 more streams if I'm unlucky or stall too much. Log intake. Oh, by the way, Did I mention that already? One more. Yeah. One more stream. One more stream. 3 streams later. Just one more stream, guys. It's just gonna be one more. I'm hardcore stalling too. This is absolutely my fault. We're not stalling, but like, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I'm sitting here ranting instead of putting things together. And we go clip. And we go clip. There we go. Where'd the horn go? Where? There it is. I'm going to put that on top of the green surface that stands out more, because that ran away from me. There we go. Oh, there's also an argument that upset me, right, on both sides, right? It was about Witch from Mercury designs. Somebody was calling them boring. And I'm like, alright, so, like, I think they're ugly, but I wouldn't call them boring, right? I wouldn't say that. And then someone retorted, like, oh, yes, unlike the 20 versions of the gym that are in UC. And I'm like, yeah, actually, every single one of those gym designs is great. Screw you. Because unlike with the Witch from Mercury designs, which you can see through the many different gym variations, is the development that it took to get there, as well as how they've rekitted the gym for different tactical scenarios. There is a logic to their design, unlike Witch from Mercury designs, which is why I think the Witch from Mercury designs are ugly, with the exception of the occasional UC design that comes out of nowhere and just goes, let me just slap a new headpiece on a gym for no reason that does not look practical at all because you've got pieces blocking the visor. Sometimes they do that, and I go, wow, that's a really badly designed mech. They do weird things sometimes. But yeah, I quite bluntly, I love that there are so many different variations on the gem. Because they all have different reasons for existing. Like, there is an organic development tree, which I complained about this one already in one of my GBO2 videos, the one for the Jagan. If you've seen that, you already know what I'm about to say, because it's on similar lines, right? I remember seeing people when the Jagan came out, they were like, I was really disappointed with the Jagan, because it just feels like a gym, and I went, if you see, how did you not expect it to play like a gym? Look at it, it's a gym. It looks like a gym. It's part of the development of the gym line. I don't know what you expected it to play like. I don't know how you're disappointed by that. It's just a Jagan. Like, I love the Jagan. The Jagan's one of my favorite designs. There's nothing special about the Jagan. As a mobile suit, it is a mass-produced, generic mobile suit. It's a gym. That's what it is. It's a gym by another name with a really cool backpack. I should build a Jagan in Armored Core. Alright, I have goals. It's going to be post-game goals because I want to unlock all the gear first so that I actually have a pool to work with. Okay, you want me to position it like that. Put this in the thing like so. And then we take this. And this goes like this. And now we have a pauldron. Missing a spike. So let's fix this up. And then get it set. Man. So I don't have work today. But I've got to go in to talk to my manager about stuff today. And I'm not looking forward to that because I don't like talking to people. I gotta ask about time off. And I don't like doing that. Ooh. Yeah, I know, right? I gotta pick up my paycheck, too. So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna pick up my paycheck, I'm gonna ask about time off. I gotta ask, like, today, too, because if I don't think I have time to request it for the time I'm looking for. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I don't like it. I probably shouldn't be that worried about it too, because I look at the schedule, right? And I get super worried about it. I'm like, I don't want to overimpose. I don't want to ask for too much time off. I look at the schedule, because we've got a calendar where we put our days down, right? And I see like everyone trying to request specific days off or like specific weekends, and I see someone taking vacation days, and it's like, why do I even worry? Why does this concern me at all? Everyone else in my department does this more than I do. This is probably why they like me. part of why they like me. I'm genuinely so confused as to why I'm treated the way I am there. I don't get it. I don't know why they like me. Yeah. Speaking of taking time off, though, right? I am annoyed, though, because I wanted Halloween off. I wanted Halloween off so that I could hand out candy, right? Um, so I put my name down on the calendar. I check it the next day just to see, because I assume if, like, my manager looked at it and it wasn't possible, she'd, like, cross it off or something, right? So I come in the next day, I take a glance at it, and I see that one of my other coworkers put their name down on the same day after I did. I'm like, oh, awesome, good job. You know we have people out. And she put her name down for the Tuesday. So this Tuesday, last Tuesday, and Halloween, which was on a Tuesday. And I'm like, are you serious right now? You're seriously going to come in after I've already put my name down on here and try to get the same day off when we have somebody quitting this week? And by the way, we have another person quitting. I shouldn't still be here. But they offered to train me as a manager, so I'm trying to take that opportunity instead of leaving like I should have done months ago. Oh, and somebody else on vacation. So I'm not getting. I went and asked my manager about it too and talked to her about it. I didn't mention that specific part because I'm not petty like everybody else. I am actually, but like I try to stay professional. If I weren't petty, I wouldn't be complaining about it here. Excuse me. But yeah, so I'm not getting that off because it's probably going to go to her because she's got seniority, which means I really got to talk about next week. And Nani, you actually know what I'm not next week, next month, and you already know what I'm looking for to try and get off, Nani. So I got to figure that out. I really got to figure that out, and I got to figure it out now. I put it off too long as it is. I gotta ask about other stuff too. I've got to ask the parental figure about things. So we'll see if we bump into her today or tomorrow. This is gonna be funny. It probably is gonna sound crazy that like I live with my mother and yet never see my mother, right? We have perfectly inverse work schedules. Somehow I doubt coffee's helping clear my throat, but like here we are. Anyways, we've got perfectly inverse work schedules where she gets up super early and leaves for work while I'm still in bed. And I come home from work after she's already gone to bed. So we just never see each other. I leave before she leaves before I get up. I leave before she gets home. I come home when she's already in bed. And I want to show her my bartender's guide. She's not going to like that one. That's why I bought 2 books. I joke. I genuinely really wanted both of those books, the one on soda fountain drinks and the bartender's guide. Really wanted both of those. But my running joke is still going to be I bought one to make mom happy because it's not alcoholic drinks and mom doesn't like alcohol. My mom doesn't like that I like alcohol. Which, to be clear, I totally get. But I like alcohol. And I'm responsible with it, so it's fine. I've never been drunk before. Some people might hear that and think that I'm lying, but no, seriously, I haven't. So yeah, that's fun. This wants to be like that. Yeah, that wants to be like that. And like my manager, I think, was being nice about it too, right? Because she offered to give me like the next day off instead. Um, but like it doesn't matter at that point, right? Like as ingrateful as that might sound for me, it doesn't matter at that point because the whole point was to be home to hand out candy for trick or treaters. And so like the day after Halloween, like the trick or treaters aren't there. Like I'm not trying to set up like a Halloween party or anything, so that just doesn't make sense. If I were trying to set up like a Halloween party, absolutely I'd go for that. Because like day after, that's fine. You know? I can still arrange that. Mind you, I would have had to ask, and I should have anyway, right? Like a month ahead of time. Because if I'd asked like a month ahead of time, um, that's not right. I think I put that on the wrong spot. Did I put that on the wrong spot? No? Um, that should be more like that. I think I put that on the wrong spot. Let me see if I can. Yes, I can. Let me see. So this wants to be here. That's where that goes. Isn't that where I had it? Ah, I've got it upside down. It's in the right spot. I'm putting. It goes like that. There we go. I fixed it. It wasn't broken at all. There we go. So you know what this means. This means one more stream. We've still got the legs and the weapons to build. Maybe two more streams. Hopefully one more stream, because like, man, I don't want to take an entire stream to do the weapons. Those don't take that long. But this is exciting. This makes me happy. I've got the torso done. I've got the arms done. Maybe this is a good time actually to take a look at oh yeah, I could totally do stuff with that, I think. Yeah, I think I can do stuff. I think I can work with this. I have ideas and they're bad. And no, they're good actually. They're really good ideas, but they're not. But I gotta check the joints and stuff on these and see. I know those are definitely not the same. Oh man, I wish they were because that'd be great. But like that's definitely a smaller wrist segment right there. So that joint that's not gonna line up. One more stream. Yeah. One more stream. I just want to do one more stream. I don't want to do two more streams, which means next time I need to focus more. Yeah. Now I don't know how to end this. Um, yeah, I gotta get going. I got stuff to do. Thanks for showing up, Nani. I think you've been the only person here today, but I appreciate it. Um, I hope you'll be here next time when we finally finish this. Eventually, I'm gonna do. What all am I gonna do? I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do one of these. I've got the pink one that I purposely haven't done anything with yet, so I'm gonna do one of these eventually. I have that kit bash idea. I don't know when I'm actually gonna do that though. I think I want to invest in an airbrush first for that too. Because of course I do. That's like it's just fine. It's like a good $400 or $500 investment. It's not that expensive at all. So this is the 30-minute sisters series. Give me 1 second. I will be right back. I'm gonna go grab the box for you. I've got 3 of them total. 2 of which are unbuilt, and then that one there. Technically, I have 4. And I also have a Megami device that I have not finished putting together yet. Well, because I got lazy. So let's move her to the side because I don't have a lot of counter or desk space to work with actually. There's her box. So it's part of the 30-minute sisters line. It's another Bandai line, as you can see here. They are significantly cheaper than the 30-minute sisters. Sorry, these are the 30-minute sisters kits. The Megami Device kits. Megami Device and Frame Arms Girls are Kotobukiya. And they are the first kind of like mech girl type thing I've seen. I had encountered. My first ones that I encountered were actually specifically the Frame Arms Girls, and I'm like, I love this concept. I'm not big on your designs because I don't like that they all look like they have thongs. That's a personal issue, but I'm not a fan. So I never got super into those. But the Megami Device kits don't have that problem. So I picked up one of those. It was like, what, 50, 60 bucks? Versus this cost me 30. So you're looking at literally like, these are like half the price. And it shows in both the equipment and the quality of plastic. But like, cost me like 20, 30 bucks. I'm not going to complain. I thought this kit was a lot of fun. I like the design. I love... So the other one is... I feel like this is more your speed, personally. But I got both. Because how am I going to not get both? But yeah, I saw these come out, and I saw Bunny Girl, and I went, oh, I need to pre-order those. And then I didn't. And then I found them at, little thingamajigs. I went in one day and I'm like, I don't have hope, but I do hope. And not only did they have them, I grabbed 2 of these because here's what my thought was, and the other kit I needed for this. So, imagine for a second this. Mixed with this. Originally, I was going to do this with a, Frame Arms Girl. I forget the name. I'd have to pull her up. It's the one with the white hair. The white hair is very important. The white, like, bob cut is very important for my vision of how this works, to be clear. But that was my original plan. And then I saw these come out for like half the price, and I'm like, yeah, let's go with that instead. Assuming I can even pull it off in the first place, because there's going to be some finagling I'm going to have to do to make it actually work properly. Like, there's definitely some parts that are... I mean, it's a masculine designed frame versus very much not so. So there's definitely going to be some finagling that needs to be done to make it work at all if the scaling is even comparable. But I'm excited to try and make it work out. That's going to be a big project. I would love to record parts of that, to go through that, but there's some tools I want to do this that I don't have before I do that in the first place. I'm very excited to do that. And I have one other 30-minute sister kit too, which was actually the first one I bought that I never put together. This one I'm saving for like a stream or something too, so I'm excited to do this one. But yeah, I just have this one complete right now. I like these. These are fun kits. I definitely think they're worth it because they're cute. And they're not that expensive. They're not too complicated either, so I think these are actually fantastic starter kits for people that aren't into model kits. I guess I should say just be aware that they're a little cheaper. In theory, they should also be super customizable with each other's parts. I haven't put that to the test myself. But, let me go ahead and show you how this one works. These have, like, modular pieces to them, right? So, here's an example of this, right? That's just got a little stud on it. I can unclip that here. And there should be a slot right there. That lets me just pop that on like that. And now, it's a wrist-mounted blade. And so they're all built like that, where their equipment and pieces, in theory, should be really easy to swap around like that, too. I assume even, like, your leg joints and body joints are made out of all the same parts, too, so I'm sure you can, like, take a limb and just, you know, put it on someone else. By the way, if you ever want to get into model kit building, get used to stuff like this. You're going to see some weird sights. You're going to see some really weird sights, like half-built heads and stuff. So yeah, and this also has a handle on it. So, like, there are hand pieces that you can absolutely use to hold on to stuff. It's not these. These are the closed fist ones. So I absolutely think these are going to be as customizable as they claim them to be because they're just made with, like, modular hardpoints. I just haven't put it to the test yet. So I'm hesitant to say definitively it absolutely is. Still, this was a fun kit, and I recommend it for the price. If these were more expensive, I wouldn't recommend them anymore because the plastic's cheaper. But it didn't cost me a lot. Okay. But with that out of the way, I will see you next time. Thanks for showing up. I had fun. I can't wait to actually put this together properly. So, goodbye for now.